So thank you everyone for joining us again. So like I said, this meeting covers for the integration and testing. So before we hit the road running, I would like to do like a refresher course for us, like some things we've discussed earlier in our bootcamp meetings. So I'll use it to refresh us regarding some basic things that has to do with software, because what we are doing has to do with software. You know, in computer line, it's either you are within software or you are within the hardware. So our focus is software. So we are going to be looking at some basic terminologies. But before we go to that, I will try to let us know what testing and integration is so that we don't get carried away. All right, so now, in our previous training, our seminars, our bootcamp we had before, there are some things we explained, which under the basic development architecture. And if you remember, one thing I brought to our notice was that the basic software architect, development software architecture has 3 tiers. Number one, we have the presentation tier, we have the application tier, and the data tier. First of all, can you all see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. So
yes,
we
please,
have,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we have the presentation tier, we have the application tier, and the data tier. So you need to understand these layers, these layers of development architecture. So the presentation layer has to do with the client. When we are talking about client is an order. An example of clients are things like your mobile phones, your Apple Watch, your computer, your laptop that you're using to operate right now. And what again? Anything that can connect through the internet, we call it client. So that's the terminology. When you hear client, is a terminology we use in the computer line, in computer line. So client is something that connects to the internet. Then we have the application layer. The application layer has to do with the web server and the application server. You get. So, you know, I was able to break this down to us in our meeting that whenever you hear anything like cloud, when you are mentioning cloud, anything like cloud, is just a word. It's nothing big at all. There's nothing really big about cloud. It's just you have a computer connected in the internet that can serve all other resources. You get resources. I'm talking about is a client. It means you have a server that it can connect. And other your mobile phone can access it. Your mobile phone has a bank app on it, and you want to transfer money, by which it's connecting through the internet to one bank application. That application, that where it's connecting to, that bank it's connecting to, has their application hosted on a global internet on the www. So that's the application layer. So that has to do with web server. And the last part is the data layer, which has to do with database. I know many of us are familiar with database. So database is for storing data. In the simplest form, your text file is a database. Your Excel is a database in the simplest form. So I will brush. This is just a I'm just brushing us through this. So I will just go further. Okay. So I discussed front-end development tools, which are used for the clients. The client, which is the presentation layer, has to do with your mobile phone, Apple Watch, or anything that can connect through the internet. So we have some tools, front-end tools. We have when you hear JavaScript, when you hear about things like AngularJS, HTML5, Android development tool to develop Android applications, and so on and so forth. So those are front end. They are meant to develop a front layer, a presentation layer applications. So when we talk about backend, so backend has to do with that application, that thing that run on your bank servers, that's which runs on the crypto servers and things like that. They are backend. So things like Java, PHP, C#, .NET entirely, Python. So those are Node.js. They are based on what? They are based on the backend. Those are on the application layer. And the tool, I think the tool for database. Yeah, we discussed about database. Database is anything that can store data at large. And we look through some database application like MySQL, SQLite. Some of us might be familiar with this, so we won't spend much time on this. So this is expected to give us an idea of presentation layer, application layer, and the data layer. This is what is involved in a software architect, basically the basic architectural view of a software. So we also look at the on the servers, which is the application layer, what sits on it, a communication module. So this is what actually brings us to testing and integration. So when you hear test, what are we testing entirely? So, but there's a whole testing is a very large concept, very, very wide. So we just streamline it to API, the application programming interface. So we are streamlining it. What we are doing, we are streamlining it to what? To an API testing and integration point of view. So an API actually is a set of programming instruction that is seated on an application layer. Remember, I said application layer, that's your server. That's the application that rests on your server that does some work, you get. So API rests on the application layer, and is an interface that helps you interface between the client and the server. So it's able to get instruction from you, from your client, from your phone, deliver it to the server. The server will perform its tasks and give back a response. So we'll go into the details of all this right away. So that's a brush up of our previous meeting. And this is actually supposed to bring us, refresh us and bring us into introduction to the essence of our training tonight. So are we clear with this? Or does anyone have a question? Just one question, because we don't want to waste the whole night on this. Are we clear on this? Can I proceed, please? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, you can proceed.
All right, thank you. All right, so I will go to today's presentation right away. Yeah, where is it? Okay. All right, so we only have 15 slides I'm going through tonight. We won't get into the main work tonight. This will be a cover-up, and in our next meeting, we'll jump into the practical instantly. All right, integration and testing. Our focus is on API, right? So there are a lot of terminologies. Just have an open mind. But before we begin this training, so what is obtainable? Why do we need this training? Why? Yeah, actually, if you are in programming line, if you are somebody that does programming, you might not really need this training because these are part of things you do. Get me? These are part of things you work with, that the things you interact with. Because while you are developing program, you do testing and you integrate API. So there are a lot of terminology. So for people that are not doing programming, this is for you. So if you are not doing programming, in that our previous seminar, I told us that it's not everybody that does programming that can be in IT line. You say you might not do anything like programming and you can still have something to do. You can have a career in IT. You can get jobs. So that's our focus. Our focus is not just head knowledge or it's not a child's play. The intention of this training is even after tonight, you should be able to build on yourself and begin to seek. If you see that is something interesting for you, can begin to look out for some jobs, begin to seek out for jobs in this line. Yeah. So what this training is intended to do is not intended to do the ABC XYZ for everyone. Yeah. So it's intended to introduce us to the concept. And we are supposed to go back and do what? And do a thorough learning on our side. The reason for this is we don't have resources on ground for now. We are just starting up. We actually wish we have trainers that will be ready Monday to Sunday for us. But as you are seeing me, I have to finish. I'm still a 9 to 5 worker. So I still do my work, and it's after my work I had to prepare for this training. Today I prepared for it. I prepared for it just 1 hour ago. So we don't have that. Because of that, we present materials, give you the materials, the videos will be available. And we have our community on the Telegram. If you have any question whatsoever, whatsoever question you have after our training, you can throw the question there and I'll be there to answer you. So the intention is to be able to train us, not the ABCXYZ, but to bring us into the concepts and to give us a platform for mentorship, for discipleship. You get, so there are many people that are older than me here. So it's not a matter of age, not a matter of anything. It's just a matter of creating, making something available for everyone, you get. So on integration and testing, I will take us into the agenda. So what we are going to cover today is 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll be looking at my time. By 9, we must be out of this meeting, of this training. So we are looking at testing and integration in software. We need to understand what it is, a component of system network, a component of system resources, and API protocols. So now, I told us that why do we need this training? I asked that question before. So the essence of this training actually introduces us to communication between systems and is useful for people that want to take career and they get a job, maybe job in where I'm trying to look for now. What I know is the telecom industry. If you want to get a job in the enterprise industry, I'm not talking about the software development industries. Most software companies, they will tell you their programmer can do this. So it's like an add-on for every programmer. You get, a programmer will do this as an add-on. But we have some enterprise that are well structured. Most software companies are not structured. And maybe Nigeria software companies are not structured. Because you find one person doing like the job of 5 people. So when you get into the enterprise level, maybe like banking system, banking industry, telecoms industry, where everything are broken down into modules, into different professions, you could find these kind of jobs as a tester and integration specialist. So most people in enterprise are actually not doing that big work that you think. So when you find people in big companies, it's not as if they are doing the big thing. It's actually a lie. They are not doing the big thing. It's most people in small companies that are doing the big thing. The people in the enterprise are not, and when I mean enterprise, like the multinational companies, you know, they are not doing the big thing because things are well structured there. So everything is broken down in pieces, you get. So now, in this kind of career path, in case you want to get a job in this area, what you actually be doing is you are testing a finished product. Like, for example, a product, you know, the development life cycle from the preparation, the analysis, the development, and when you now get to the testing level, so there's a level where it comes to meaning the solution has been delivered. When it's been delivered, there are some group of people called testers. So they will test the solution. They'll test for bug. And if many of you are conversant with some online jobs like Fiverr or things like that, there are some jobs like testers where they pay testers, or maybe you test a game online and you are being paid. So we have such kind of jobs like that. So it's testing a finished product. So that is all what we are doing here. So now, you know, I told you that testing is actually covers a whole large, is a large stream. So we have testing of hardware, testing of networks, testing of very wide, very, very wide. Even as little as testing of games. Now, I just said it. Testing of an application. Okay, can user log in? Okay, I tried to log in on this your app, it can't log in. So those one are just a primary school thing that people can. So, and I tell you, people do that in companies today, where all they just do is just get an app and start testing. Can I log in? And start shouting they can't log in and this or that. So they are meant to. So the reason for testers is to be able to trace logs, able to troubleshoot, able to discover bugs. Bugs means an anomaly in a program. So when a program has an anomaly, is running in an unusual way, maybe a bank have a solution, and at the end of the day, instead of the bank charges to be 10 naira, we discover that the user is being charged 100 naira. That can be a bug. So if that is being deployed to production, every people will be experiencing that issue. So in order not to have that issue, that's why we have what we call testers. You get. So we have testers and integration specialists. So now we are going to go deep into what the testing has to do. So now I've actually explained some things to you, and I've let you know that, you see, you don't actually need to study computer science. You don't need to even have certificate for now for you to apply for some jobs that, for example, in my company in Huawei, some people don't even know these things and they are employed. So sometimes when some people say they don't have jobs, sometimes I feel like, well, maybe they are not ready. That's what I see it has at times. Or maybe they don't want to do the 9-to-5 jobs, because they are real jobs. It's only when you are ready for it, you get. All right, so now, what is testing and integration in software? So it is the testing and integration of system to system statuses, system to system communications, system to system resources. So what do I mean by this? What do we mean by system testing and integration of system status and system to system status? So what I mean by system status is knowing the status of a particular system. When I'm talking about a system, I mean it can be clients. If all this terminology, please, you have to note it down. It can be client or server. If I'm talking about clients, I'm talking about things like your mobile phone or your laptop or your iPhone watch. If I'm talking about a server, if I'm talking about server, yeah, I'm talking about an hosted system, something that is connected to the www, hosted in the cloud. So let me use cloud. Don't let me use a local time. Let me use cloud for that. All right, so now for system status, it means you try to know the status of your phone. So how do you check the status of your phone? You can check if it's connected to internet. We all know that. So it's as simple as that. Get to know it's because, for example, you want to connect to Facebook and you discover that you can't load it. You know, you get something like error 404. You know, that basic knowledge of error 404 is a terminology in testing and integration. So error 404 lets you know that something is not accessible. So you can either check, is your internet out on your phone? You know, that is checking the status of the system. Now, the second one has to do with system to system. System to system means that, okay, we're in the cloud. And for example, maybe your server, a Facebook server needs to connect to a Google server. And Facebook server cannot access Google server. That is system to system. So you are checking connection between two systems that are in the cloud system, connected, network wisely connected together. You get. So that's system to system. So when system to system communication has to do with, can they reach each other? You get, can they reach each other? For example, I'm trying to call Paul and his number is not reachable. So it means the communication line, something is broken somewhere. You get. Also, the last one is system to system resources and system to system resources. When I say system resources means the resources on that particular system, that is the client. For example, you have, I think we have used a lot. Oh, wow, we spend a lot of time. We have to move fast, please. So this is not a paid Zoom. So in the next 10 minutes, it's going to time out. So please, I beg us, let us reconnect back. Thank you. So now for system to system resources, like on your phone, which is a client, I'll be using your phone as an example for clients. Your phone is a client. It has medias, it has videos.
Thank you.
Hello. Okay. Oh, okay, it's myself.
Go on.
All right. Thank you. All right, so now system resources means that things are available on your system at that time. Like you have, what do you have on your phone? You have your photos, you have your images, you have your videos. Those are resources on your phone. When we are talking about system to system resources, these are resources on the cloud. What are the things available on the cloud? Data. What kind of data? So we are going to get to know that sooner or later in the course of our meeting, of our training. So the next will take us to what is being tested or integrated. Oh, before that, you see this diagram I have here. So you could see system integration, what you see like a cloud here, actually it gives us what it means to have something in the cloud. It's a system in the cloud. It's a resources in the cloud that you can connect to. You can see everything connecting to that system integration cloud. They are all called clients. So everything is trying to connect to it at the same time. So that's what this all what this is mostly all about. And all these devices that are connected, they connect through different means. So we get to know how do they connect. Then, if you know how they connect, you can now know how do I test. How do we carry out testing for this and that? Testing just as simple as checking that your phone is connected to the internet or not is one of the simplest things about testing. So that is major thing you are doing. It's as simple as that, but very, very technical. So you'll get to know more in the course of this training. So what is being tested? What we are testing is client systems, server systems. So those client system has to do with your phone, the presentation layer. Server system has to do what is being hosted in the cloud. If your computer, a server is just something that is connected to the cloud, to the World Wide Web. It's accessible globally. That is what makes it a server. So you could see the presentation layer, application layer, and data layer. So the client layer is trying to access something on the application layer. Application layer can connect to the database. Let me explain in a raw form to you what is happening this here in this picture you are seeing here. What is happening here is, for example, you go to Facebook and you went to click your friends, my friends. What's Facebook going to do? Facebook is going to fetch your friends. Where is Facebook? So now, I want somebody to answer me. So at what point, what is your presentation layer when you went to visit Facebook and Facebook loads your friends? So what is the presentation layer in this point of view at the moment? I want somebody to answer, please, so that I can know you are following me in this meeting.
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
Okay, let me come again. What I try to say is that, for example, you went to visit Facebook on your phone. You open the Facebook application on your phone, and you try to load your friends. Check your friends on Facebook. You know, Facebook is going to load all of your friends that you have accepted their friends requests on your phone, on your mobile device, on Facebook application. So, hello, please hold on. Somebody is trying to reach me. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Sorry. All right. So what I was saying was that you visited Facebook and you tried to load your friends, and Facebook loaded all your friends. You wonder, where is it loading it from? So I just want to understand if you understand the presentation layer, application layer, and the data layer. So at what point is your presentation layer Which one is your presentation layer? I can't hear you. Your voice is skipping. It's very low. Your phone, right? All right, thank you. Thank you very much. And what about the application layer? Which one is the application layer? Okay, the Facebook server. Please, your voice is very low. I can't hear you clearly. And lastly, which one is the data layer?
Data layer is the Facebook.
It's Facebook friends.
Eh?
Facebook friends.
Okay. You tried. I understand. Don't worry. You see, that Facebook friends, what is being loaded as Facebook friends is resting on the application layer. So now we got it, the application, the presentation layer is your phone, which has the Facebook application on it. At the point when you click my friends, Facebook, you have triggered the application layer at that point on Facebook. You are not seeing it. The application layer and data layer are invisible to you. You are not seeing anything that is happening there. Everything is just presentation to you. So now, what happened was that Facebook on the application layer, their Facebook server, we go into Facebook database to check where are all the friends for Babatunde, where are the friends requests Babatunde have accepted, fetch it from their database into the application layer and deliver it to you on the presentation layer. That's what is happening. So that's the concept I want us to understand. I hope it's clear. This is very important before we can continue. All right, thank you. So the next part is now we have something called the component of system network. You get. So the first, you know, the definition of our testing and integration in software has to do with what? Testing and integration of what? The status of the system, the communication, and the system resources. So if we are combining status of the system and communication together, it helps us to know, it takes us to the network. So if something is wrong with the communication and status, what are we testing or checking is what? Network. So it is network we are checking. So this brings us into network layer. So I know many of us know this theoretically, and many of us might not even touch this practically at all. So we have 7 network layers. We have been taught, I know we know this. So I will just brush through it. Yeah, I don't want to bore us with it too much. So we have the physical layer. The physical layer is the physical medium, like maybe wireless, Wi-Fi. And this is about network, how internet. In case you don't know what network is how internet gets, how you can get connected. Maybe you get connected through your phone to the internet or to a system. You get. So that's what makes a system network. So we have several layers. We have the physical layer. This physical layer has to do with the connection port, like your LAN cable and all those things. I'm not a network guy. So we have another one called the data link layer. So these are the configuration parts on the network layer. We have the network layer itself within the 7 network layers. Network layer has to do with your IP, where IP is being defined and things like that. Then we have something called the transport layer. So now, one thing I want you to understand in network layer is actually a communication or a transport or something. For example, if you need to transport somebody from Ajah to Osho, no, don't let me use local terms. Let us be true here. If you need to transport somebody from UK to Nigeria, for example, you know, you need a plane, you need a ticket, you need to be onboarded on a seat, the plane needs to fly. You know, all the means by which the plane can fly you from UK to Nigeria is how network is. Yeah, how it is, where you sit down, how you have been transported, and how you have been delivered to your destination. That's all about network. You get. So we have the transport layer. The transport layer, we have what is called TCP. This is how for joining back. Also, like I said before, network system has to do with transportation. So we have to take out the transport layer. You can mute, please. Thank you. Okay. Hold on for me, please. I'm trying to save the previous recording. I learned. Thank you. All right, then we can proceed now. All right, so so the transport layer is the transmission of data. So this is how your data is being transmitted. You know, what you are trying to transmit is data. You get, even when you are trying to browse, it's data, it involves network. So it's data that is being transmitted. So this involves data is being transmitted. Like maybe you need to transmit, you need to open a picture. As you need to open a picture from a website. You know, sometimes the picture loads little by little. What is happening is that it's loading the bytes gradually. If the picture is 10 MB, and your internet is very slow. So transport layer will be the one transmitting the data gradually. You can see that sometimes your picture will be loading gradually until it's fully loaded. So that's what the transport layer does. So the session layer maintains a session. For example, when your picture is loading, it ensures that the session is kept open. It doesn't time out. Ensure that that session is kept open until the picture is fully loaded. Picture is a data, you get. So we have the presentation layer. So this has to do with some encryption, and this is where your data is being finalized before it is sent over to the application layer. So this whole thing about system network is part of the components that have to do with testing and integrations. You get. So there are some time that we will have to test a network. We need to, some of us are familiar with the word ping. Yeah, if you, for example, if you have a computer right now connected to the internet, open your command prompt. Search, if you are using Windows, open the CMD, type CMD in your search bar, open the command prompt, that black screen. Then type ping www.google.com. Yeah, you can type it www.google.com. So what it's trying to do is sending packets. It's trying to test the status of google.com, the server that has google.com, testing the status. Is it online? So it's going to ping it, check the status. Then Google is going to return a response back that I am active. So that is all what happened within the network layer. So sometimes you need to test a network. If you need to test the network of server, you get the server endpoint, the server URL. Like google.com is a URL. So you might need to get a server URL and ping it to see if it's accessible. So all these things, you'll get to know it in I will show you, I think some of my workspace, I will show it to us on how we work, and when we try to troubleshoot some networks to see if it's alive. That's mostly that's the first point of your testing. If something is not accessible, you first of all check, is this thing even live? Is it accessible live? So sometimes it's not accessible live, but you need to pass through a tunnel. Yeah, through VPN. So you get to know all those ones too. So when I don't like theory. I don't like talking too much. I like to fire up to get into practical. So I just need we need this to do our building, and just don't be bored. Just pay attention to it, please. And the last part, which is the presentation layer, this is where the data is now presented to you in a human readable form. So under the application layer, your mobile application has inbuilt application that can interpret the application layer data, the data that is being returned back, cannot present it to you in a human readable form. So programmers will understand these things much more. So from the system network, this I'll send us this PPT. This defines the network layers in case some of us that don't have idea about it, or we've not done a course in computer science before. So we have this network layer. So now this, we're almost rounding up. So we have what is called the components of system, components of what? Of system resources. So let me take us back. In our definition of integration and testing, I make mention of system resources. Let me try and see if I can use some annotation here. Draw. Okay, I'm using this for the first time. Very interesting. Hold on. So, I'm going to draw this. So, this one, system to system, system and system to system resources. So, what kind of, I told us that you have resources on your system, like your computer. You have, what do you have on your computer? You have images, pictures, videos, etc., etc. You have data on it. You have data written in files. So how can we make this? How can we test these resources? How can you troubleshoot these resources? Because at the end of the day, there is a program written somewhere that have access to these resources, and you might need to test it if those resources are really readily available. So those are part of what. So that's the part where we are going to go through next. This thing is not going. Okay, thank you. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm no more doing. Yeah, erase it. Okay. All right. So now we component of system resources. You know, we spoke about component of network, which has to do with communication link. We spoke about at length all what is within the network layers. And this is for system resources. So this will bring us into a larger spectrum to understand what is being integrated and what is going to be tested. So under system resources, we have something called data storage. Under data storage, data can be stored as what? As an SQL application, a NoSQL application, and a file system. So SQL application, SQL is sequential query language. Is what we know as SQL application are like MySQL, Oracle database, MS SQL, MS Access, MS Access, MS SQL, and we have many various other ones. We have PostgreSQL. So, hello, Tumishe, welcome. So we have something called NoSQL applications. This is a database also. NoSQL applications, the first one SQL application is a relational database management system. The NoSQL is a non-relational. So under the relational, which is the SQL application, has to do with data, a structured data in what? In tabular form. Like maybe you need to get the data of students in a class, you write name, date of birth, time in, time out, and sign. So that is a structured database. So that falls under relational database model, where data are presented in what? In tabular form. NoSQL applications have to do with, it means it's not in a sequential, it's not a sequential format. It's not structured. So when we begin our training, I'll be giving you some example of this thing. And we have file system. We write into files. For example, I can write into my text file. My text file can stand as a database. Why? Because my application on the application layer, I can tell my application layer to read into a file, into a text file. I can write an application to read into a text file. To say, okay, the first line of your TXT file, read the first line, read the second line, read the third line, you get? And I can write into it. I can write into a file, read from that file, delete from that file. So if I can do that, it's a database on its own. So we have some system architecture that, there are some system architecture that they don't have any SQL application. They only write to files. They are old model. They just write to files because they don't want complexities. You get? So that's a means by which data can be stored. Data can be stored in memory. Remember random access memory, RAM. Yeah. So we can write into RAM of a system. So now on your browser, you know, you are conversant with this thing. You have what is called cookies on your browser, on your Google browser. You have what is called caches. You get? So sometimes you could say that your Google is very, very slow. And your Android phone will say, try to optimize your phone. You know those optimization app on your phone, and you click start, and it's trying to clear some junks out. What is clearing actually is going into your browsers, clearing some caches of things that have been stored on your browser that are relevant to you. Because there are some websites that when they are loaded, those websites are heavy websites. When they are loaded, they load most of your data into caches, like your pictures, some things are loaded into caches. They hold it into caches so that when you come back to visit that website, it will no longer need to run those things again from the internet. Yeah, my wife is catching it. Thank you. So it no longer needs to go through the internet to get those resources. It just loads it from your phone. So your phone stores those caches. Your phone stores cookies. You get? And we have some things called inbuilt memory files. Can write into some inbuilt, you can write into, so this has to do with memory, RAM, random access memory, you get? So for some of you that uses 2 gig RAM of phone, 1 gig RAM of phone, and you say that your phone is very slow, what is happening is this: there's some application running on your phone, writing into your RAM. And when your RAM is being consummated, you are done. Your phone will be very, very slow. So that is a function of RAM. So when you want to buy your phone, you check RAM is very important. Make sure the RAM is big enough. Thank you. So now the part, another resources within system, component of a system is what we call microservices. So now microservices are the blocks of your application and perform different services. APIs can be made blah, blah, blah. So microservices, you need to understand before we move into API. I hope we can be able to cover this thing tonight. All right. So microservices now. How do I explain microservices? Programmer will understand this, but I'm going to explain it in a layman language for us. All right. Microservices are applications that are written on the application layer. The application layer are the server, application that run on server, that runs on your server. You get application. So that run on server. Like your PHP, Java, the applications, server applications. You get. So somebody's trying to call me. Sorry for that distraction. So for your microservices now, so the application that run on application servers. So how do they come by? For example, you are writing an application for students that need to manage a student resource. So manage student resource in the form of can handle student registration. You know, student can register. All right. Student can pay school fees through. So we have something called student registration, student school fees, student course outline, and what again? Student matriculation. You understand what I'm talking about? You know, they have something common to students. You know, so now this chunk of things banded together are what we call microservices. So we have microservices running, a microservice running as student register. We have a microservice running as what again? As student course outline. So now this can be written because they have something common together, as students is common to them. They can be written independently, running independently on an application server. You get, so we can have 5 programmers doing different things, but it's fulfilling the same purpose. So it's having a loose coupling. It means that instead of me writing on one system, writing a code, a programming that we undo system registration, system course outline in one application, I splitted it in different in different containers. You get, so that is what we call microservices. So now it is from within microservices that API comes in. You get. So if you are with me thus far, can you just whisper something? Can you just say yes, you are with me?
Yes, we are with you, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes, we are with you.
Thank you.
I'm with you, sir.
Thank you for the feedback. Thank you very much. So this brings us to API. This is the bane of our discussion. This is the major thing we are focusing upon. So what is an API? An API is application programming interface. It's a terminology. So yeah, you have to learn that because if you go for interviews, they will ask you, oh, do you understand what microservices are? Do you understand what API are? So you need to have these things stored in your brain. You get all these terminologies. So they make it look as if you are doing one very big thing, but it's not that big. Don't be scared. So we have API, application programming interface. So these are application programs which helps to make system resources available to end user. Let me repeat again. These are application programs which helps to make system resources available to end user. So if I ask, who is the end user here? Who is an end user? Anyone? Who is an end user?
The client.
Okay, thank you very much. Wait, who just answered? I hope it's not a senior man that answered me, because Chukuma and Bro David, they are senior men. They should not answer in this place. All right, thank you. So an API is application programming interface. It makes resources available to end users. So now I will just explain it in a simple, I think I have a diagram to explain this. Okay. I'm looking for a diagram. I've explained it before. I used Facebook to explain this earlier before. You visited Facebook application, you clicked on my friends. The moment you click on my friends on Facebook, what does Facebook do? Facebook instantly picks it up as a request. You are the client now, you've made a request. This is what is, I'm telling you what is happening behind the scene. I'm telling you what is happening behind what you are not seeing. What is not visible to the naked eyes, that is behind. Or what is behind is on the application layer. So Facebook picked the request that this person clicks. The application layer is able to inform, the presentation layer, which is your phone, which is the program Facebook application, is able to inform, is a line of communication. It's able to inform, and go back to that diagram so that as I'm discussing this with you, you are understanding it. So the application, the Facebook application, acts on some set of program. It's able to identify that you clicked on something called my friends, because someone programmed in that way that you should click my friend. And when you click my friends, it gets an action that, Priscilla clicked my friends. And what happens next is that it sends that request to the application layer, this application layer here. Sends it to the application layer, which is a web server, the Facebook web server. So Facebook web server now say, okay, a request came in from Priscilla to fetch Priscilla's friend. By the way, how is he going to know that the request is coming from Priscilla? The presentation layer will send in an identity of Priscilla. It's either it sends a Priscilla username. Your username is unique, or your user ID. Sends it along to application layer. The application layer gets us Priscilla's friends. So the application layer gets this information, and because the application layer is connected to the database, presentation layer can never connect to the database directly. It's not safe, and we don't do that. You get? So it's only the application layer that connects database. So because your data, Priscilla friends are stored on the database, application layer will say, okay, it goes into the database, select all the records select all the records of Priscilla's friends, where the username or user ID is Priscilla, or a username on Facebook, whatsoever it can be. The database returns the result to the application layer. Then the application layer now returns it to the presentation layer. Presentation layer now receives it, now loads it to you in a readable human format. When you now see those lists of Priscilla's friends, it can even sort it like maybe the last person that made a post, it can sort it in, or the last person she accepted as a friend. It can sort it alphabetical order. He just presented it. That is his work. He's a presenter. Presentation layer gets the data, which you don't know how it's been presented, and display it. Now, those data that have been transferred from one endpoint to the other is what we are going to be working on, is what today's training is all about. You'll be seeing it, you'll be seeing because most times you'll be introduced to systems communicating to each other, and you are required to test it, to troubleshoot it. So you need to know what is happening behind the systems. You need to know how the data is transferred. You need to know how the data is being returned. And you need to know if the data is returned in the actual format the presentation layer is expecting it. For example, presentation layer can be expecting the friends list to have a particular order, to have my friends. An application layer can return something called friends. Presentation layer can return an exception, can return an error and say, I don't understand it. Why? Because what presentation layer is expecting is different from what application layer sends. So these are means of communication. It's just like I'm speaking broken English to somebody in UK that doesn't understand pidgin English at all. Person is just kind of like, he doesn't understand what I'm communicating about. He doesn't understand it. You get? So that's just how it is. In mode of communication, and we understand, when we understand each other, it means we have a seamless integration. When everybody is seamlessly connected, it means we are seamlessly integrated together. You get? I think it's 9 o'clock already. So let me just, because I don't want to also take too much of our time individually, because I know we have to go to work tomorrow. We just have this, I think this probably, I'll take this and I'll stop here. So in our next meeting, we are going to begin the practical process immediately. All right, so now we have different, under API, API, I've just explained it. API is what? It's an application program that makes system resource available to end user. That end user is the presentation layer. You get? So an API, where does it sit? An API sits on the application layer. It's a logic that is written behind. I write a set of program that other people can interact with. That other people are other applications. That other people are who? Let me show you the diagram again. Other applications, look at it. I have an API written that is within the cloud, and I have other applications that can interact with it, like phone, SMS, mail, what again? Tablet, IVR, POS, your POS machine. Yeah, it's the same mode. So I have an API written, and other system can connect through it. Why is this being done? The reason why this is being done is that the presentation layer actually comes with a business logic. I want something. For example, what I want is, I want my friend list. And that friend list is in the database. But I cannot go to the database directly because I don't have the access to it. So what I now use is, there is an API logic that sits on the application layer that helps me to provide that resources. That resources I'm looking for can be an image. So for example, when you load an image from a URL, let me show us an example, and we'll end there. So that it's not all about talking. Oh my. Okay, let me share my browser to us. All right, this is my browser. I'm going to do something for us right now. Oh. Where can I get it from? Oh, okay. I know what to do. Hope you can see my browser, everyone. Hello, can you see my browser? Hope everyone have not slept like this.
Yes, you can see it.
Okay, thank you.
We can see, sir.
Okay, this is a website I built for someone. I'm trying to look for an image. This image. Trying to look for it. This image has a URL. There's a means by which it was loaded. And that's what I want us to understand. So what I just did now that showed all this script here on the right hand side is I right-clicked on my web browser and I click inspect. When I click inspect, in short, this is going to view most of all the things we'll be doing. When I click inspect, I can access all information data that has to do with this website. So many of this is what we do, that we used to hijack some websites and rebuild it to suit into what we want. You get? So this gives the element of all what is within a website. I'm trying to look for this guy, this picture. This is the picture. This is the URL that says that picture. Can you see? This is the URL. Very good. So now, what I try to do here, if I click this on, if I put this picture, this is the URL to that picture. The serviceexcellencemethod.com/img groups2.png. What happened is, I have this picture in this directory on this server. I will explain. I have this picture. This is the picture itself, groups2.png. It's under img directory. Inside this server, the serviceexcellencemethod.com. It is inside this server. You get? So when I click enter, it loads the picture for me. So what I just did is that, so this is what an API does. So there's a resources of this picture in my server. So an API can determine how this data is being fetched. I use picture as an example, but assuming we are looking at data from a data perspective, maybe you try to load something, a list of users that registered in a school, list of users that have a course that register for computer science. So that's how that data is being loaded back. Now, what you are seeing here is that this browser knows how to respond to the data that is returned. The data returned is not this picture of gone. This is not what is transmitted though. What is transmitted is in computer understandable language, is in pixel. A byte is what is transmitted back. When that byte is transmitted, Google Chrome is an application layer, is a presentation layer. It's able to decode the byte and present it as the original picture. That's what happened here. So this is just what happens in API per se. So API is something that sits behind and able to present something to you. So that is what you test. So that is what we troubleshoot, we test. Is this thing working? Why are we not getting results? Why are we not getting actual thing? And in API, we have different protocols. We have something called SOAP protocol. If you are going for an interview, they will ask you these things in the interview. Simple Object Access Protocol, SMTP, short message peer-to-peer. So this protocol is what we use in the telecom industry to send SMS. SMS communication. When you send SMS from your mobile device and it's received by MTN, it's received in this through this protocol, SMPP. You get. We have something called Session Initiation Protocol. So this one is a signaling protocol. This higher level. We won't go there now. So the focus, we have found something called XML over TCP. It's a protocol of data transmission. We have representation state transfer, HTTP REST. That's going to be the basis of our training in the practical session. We are going to start that next week, yeah, by God's grace. So as you can see, we have API here, connected. So what you are seeing here in this picture here is the whole concept of what we call Internet of Things, IoT. IoT, meaning several devices can communicate together at the same time. Like your car has your information, has access to who is driving. You bought a Tesla car, and the Tesla car, when you bought it, you have to log in and assign your credentials, your name, and get your image recognition, get your email, your picture, get everything about you. What it just does is it stores in a database, and possibly maybe you are using an iPhone that also is integrated to a Tesla. So an iPhone can interact to know that, oh, okay, you are not in your car, but interconnected of devices together. This is a concept of IoT. So if you want to understand IoT, you need to know integration of systems. So a TV, game, everything can connect together into same system. So that's why you can connect to YouTube on your smart TV, connect it on your phone device, and when you log in on YouTube on your device, your when you log into YouTube on your when you're watching YouTube, a YouTube video on your phone, on your smartphone, it can detect that, okay, you're on your smart TV, you also logged on your smart TV, that would you like to switch the screen to your smart TV? Yeah, do you want to screencast or things like that? See, it's an intelligence of system. So you get to know what the broader spectrum of all these things, how they are connected, and how you can get to know how the data flow from one point to the other, how to be able to test it. So I'm going to stop tonight because of the time we have consumed. So next week we are going to go into the REST API basics. Then we're going to begin our practical training from there too. So we're going to do a lot of work. We're going to have a live scenario of the work I do, for example, a live server. What a server is. I will get to show us everything, so that we are not novice to these things, and we can easily relate when we come across it, or when we go for an interview, or we are seeking for a job opportunity in this area. So that will be all for tonight. Yeah, and I hope I've been able to drive some points through us. So if you have any question in the next 5 minutes, I'm open for questions before we round up tonight. Thank you. So anyone with any question? Yes. What is large number of people? Hope everybody registered as on our Telegram channel like this. So do we have anyone with any question for everything tonight? Or what we've learned tonight, is it understood? I would like to know. I would like to get feedback from us. Is it well understood, or is it very strange to us? Any feedback, please?
Yeah.
It's well understood.
One after the other.
Well understood. But I also need the slide to go through and
Certainly.
maybe get used to the terminologies.
You have the slide and the video will be available after now.
Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you, everyone. So now the concept of this community, which we've started today, is to it will provide resources for us. So all of our engagement should be on Telegram. So if you have any question you need to ask, you can raise it up in the Telegram channel. We are going to have the videos. It will be continual, all the videos of our training. So even if a new person is coming in, the new person can be onboarded easily. He can go through all our videos and raise any question for any of the videos, and anyone can also answer the person. I can answer the person. So that's how we're going to build our community. So we're going to build it in a very large point of view, in a very large space. It's going to be robust to the point of even when anybody wants to go for an interview, we can prepare the person for questions that can come up, can prepare you for interview questions. Yes, so that's the essence of our community. So it's expected to brush people up, provide opportunities for people, but it's not expected to do everything for us. So what I've done here, I've just touched on little part of it. So please go further and read more about this. Read ahead of our next meeting. We are going to start fully on practical next week, fully on practical, fully getting our hand into the systems and understand how in the life scenario of how these things work. So we're going to be having that opportunity from next week. So thank you very much, and don't forget, we are going to be uploading this on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. If you have any question whatsoever, raise it on that group. The reason why it's necessary, don't come to me privately, raise it on that group. The reason is that it will be like a resource available for new users. So when new users coming in, in case they're asking the same kind of question, we just refer them back that this question has been answered. Many of you know what is called Stack Overflow, where questions are raised and answered. If you raise a question in Stack Overflow of an issue you have, they will just point you back to somebody that have answered the same. So that's what we want to do. So at the time will come when we're able to use something like Stack Overflow to get even more robust than that. So that will be all for tonight. And I really thank you. I think we have a huge number tonight. Thank you for not letting this to be a wait. Thank you for joining tonight. And tomorrow, I think we'll be having for PHP, people that want to learn PHP programming. I'll try and see if we can be able to do that. We should be able to, since we have a number of people that have responded on that. So I want to say thank you to you all once again. So thank you and God bless. So bye, everyone. Thank you so much for time. Yeah, you are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Did I have it? Okay.